Okay, so this is my official first video of me sharing my personal story of facing depression, anxiety. And this is really just a way for me to talk about it because I haven't until about a couple weeks ago. And I feel like if me sharing my story can help anyone going through the same things I'm going through, then I've achieved something by just helping one person. So I started with anxiety about almost a year ago when I had just recently moved from Texas to Arizona. I had built up in my head this awesome life that I was gonna live out here, getting away from Texas and being super successful because I'd got a job right out of college, and it did not pan out that way. And I think that's where the anxiety started. I started overthinking in my head everything that I told myself I wanted to be in school, and all the goals I had set for myself, the role I wanted to play in my relationship with my fiance Rob, who I wanted to be as a daughter, as a friend, as a sister. And every night I started going to bed thinking of these things, and I started to lose sleep. And then I found myself sitting in bathrooms at like 2 a.m. bawling my eyes out. And that started in July, and it became a nightly thing. And it wasn't every day that I was crying, but and having these panic attacks. It was about 4 days out of the week I found myself either having to calm myself down before I got to that point, or I would get to that point. My fiance was home from the end of May to about mid to the end of July doing rehab. He had gotten injured pitching in May of last year, and so I never told him anything that was going on with me because I felt that I had to be strong for him, and I had to be there and be his support system first and foremost. So I came off like a lunatic when I started having these panic attacks and anxiety attacks, and he never understood because I never told him what was going on until it got really bad and it led into a depression. I was irritable. I wasn't sleeping. I was taking it out on everyone closest to me, and nobody knew what was going on, which was the worst part. I thought maybe it was my birth control. I thought maybe trying different things would work, and I started feeling alone, scared to be by myself. I didn't trust myself. I was in some really dark days. I didn't want to get out of bed. I had no passion for the things that I used to have passion for, which was like working out and being the best dog mom and taking the pups out for dog walks and going to the park and just being really active the way I was in college. And then Rob left for season to finish it off at the end of July, and I was by myself, and that's when it got really bad and really dark, and I wasn't happy with my living situation in Arizona, and I wasn't happy with my job at the time. I was doing marketing for a radiology company, so I found myself leaving home crying, and I found myself coming home crying, and I would just go to my room and not do anything, which made me really miserable. And I was finally able to tell Rob what was going on in about August, because I had seen the toll it was taking on him, and that's when we had decided as a couple that I should quit my job and take time to go be with him. Sorry, there's a helicopter flying over me. So from about September to mid-October, I was with him in Chicago, and it was good to be around him and actually go through this with somebody who actually knew what was going on with me, but that didn't mean it got any better at all whatsoever. I was still crying all the time, still severely depressed. I started losing myself even more because I felt like I didn't have an identity. I felt like I didn't know who I was anymore. And I think that was even harder because I just felt worthless. I felt like I had nothing going for me. After I had told myself in college I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and it felt like I wasn't working towards any of those things. Sorry. Neo. So we get home from Chicago, and we thought it was best for me to finally go seek, or I wouldn't say seek, it was time for me to actually open up to a doctor and see what I could do to function daily with depression and anxiety. And I went for a couple sessions and things got a little better. And I thought I was completely cured, so I stopped going after about a month. And I got this new job in December, and things were going really good. And then spring training came around, and I knew that it was the time for Rob to leave again, and the anxiety kicked up again. And it got worse, worse than it was last year, and depression was a constant thing. I was becoming unsocial at work, at home, with friends here. I was not working out. I started gaining weight, which is the hardest thing for me to say. I found it very hard for me to look in the mirror and even smile back at myself. I felt more disgusted with myself than I was happy with myself. And I felt like everything that was going on was my fault, and I could be, and I should have done something to be better, stop it. But I just sunk, and it's so it had sunk so far bad that I didn't want to go to work, and when I was at work I was not giving my best effort, and just disconnected myself from everyone, and I knew I needed to seek help when I felt like I had no purpose in life, that there was no reason for me to be here. I felt like I wasn't good at being a friend. I felt like I was failing my parents, my siblings, because my dad always told me that I was the quarterback of the family, and I felt like I was just failing them in that aspect. They didn't know what was going on with me. And that was hard. I felt ashamed, I felt embarrassed, I felt scared of what they would think of me, because I was the strong one, always the strong one growing up, always independent. And I felt like I was failing as a partner to Rob, and as a fiance, as a friend to him, because nothing about our life is easy. Being alone here is really tough. Waking up to yourself, going to bed by yourself, eating by yourself is lonely enough, but when you are facing depression and anxiety, you start to feel really lonely. And it's even more broadened how alone you are. I just felt like a burden. I felt like I wasn't doing anything beneficial for anyone except for making everyone worry, making everyone stress, making everyone unhappy. There are some things I will talk about more as I feel more comfortable. But I knew that I needed to get help. I knew that it was time after a year. So I went home for a couple weeks and tried to really decompress from my life over here. And on top of all that, I'm planning a wedding. And I don't want anyone to think for a second that I'm not excited about that, because that's every girl's dream. But it is definitely hard when you are going through something so deep and so dark. But that does bring me joy when I am actually planning our day, Rob and I's day. It does bring happiness to me. So I was doing the wedding planning over there. I went to go see a doctor again. Really broke it down to me what the different types of depression are, what an anxiety and what an anxiety attack is, what a panic attack is, what your brain does, what your body does. I had admitted to him that I wasn't eating, and when I did, I would overeat because I hadn't eaten. And he told me how that plays an effect into the way your body works with your brain. So that's where I'm at right now. And that was I just got back to Arizona 2 days ago. So I'm still going through all these things and still trying to figure out ways to cope with it, be strong. But I'm not perfect, and my life's not perfect, and I am strong enough to say that I do go through things like this, because from the outside looking in, I'm sure that people look at my life like I have everything going for me, and I should have nothing to complain about when I have a gorgeous house and I live this amazing life with my fiance, because I do get all these really great things in life that I'm blessed with and I am thankful for. But with no happiness in your life, it all feels like a prison. You feel stuck in here, you feel stuck wherever you're living. So that is my first story of my journey over the last year with depression, anxiety. And I know that I'm probably missing a lot, but it has really hit me harder lately because it's Mental Health Month. It's crazy to me that 1 in 5 people are facing mental health conditions, And I never thought that it would be me going through something like this. And it snuck up on me, and I felt like it took control of my life, and I'm trying to get that control back. But I don't want to be a victim to all this. I don't want to play the poor me card. I just want to become stronger from it, and that's what my wish is to really be a better whole person because of it. And hope that if there's anyone else out there thinking that your life isn't worth it, that you're crazy, that you are stupid for going through something like this, I just want to say don't feel that way, and that I get it. I really think we were all put on this earth for a certain purpose, and I'm still trying to understand why, and why this is happening, what I can learn from it, and it really gives me a different perspective on life. So yeah, and whatever I say here, I hope I don't offend anyone. Like I said, I'm not perfect. This is just my story and what I think.